In this video, I'd like to invite you to join me in taking a look at a remarkable location in the Stockholm outer archipelago. It's one of the places that really stands out to me after years of kayaking trips. The location is Huvudskär, an island in the outermost southern Stockholm archipelago, and is definitely worth a visit if you're able, especially if you're a kayaker. It was the key destination during a 4-day sea kayaking expedition in June 2023 with friends. Some might remember this from earlier videos, and this is actually the third part. You can see the location here. To the east of there, after a few islands, is basically 200 kilometers of Baltic Sea, and then you'll find Estonia. För dig som är svensktalande och paddlare i Stockholmstrakten och är bekväm med ytterskärgård, om du inte har besökt Huvudskär så är det definitivt värt ett besök, och även Myggskären norr om där. It's a barren, windy, often landscape of rocky island grounds, but really beautiful in its own way. And we had paddled there. This is about 1.5 days into the trip. Ulf ser lite officiell ut. Niklas. Yes. Getting to Huvudskär is about a day and a half's paddle if you took the route that we did from Dalarö. Otherwise, you would have to have your own boat or to book a taxi boat. That might be expensive, I guess. Here you can see our campsite on an island almost 10 kilometers northwest of Huvudskär on the night before. And we had really calm water on the first day, but as we get closer to Huvudskär further out, you could start feeling a little bit of waves. Still calm, not that much of wind, but you should be aware of that out here things can get quite wild on the water if the winds are high. So here is actually the moment when we reach Huvudskär, 1.5 days into our trip, and the local residents here are joined by visitors at a hostel or something of the like that actually exists on the island, and of course all those birds.
Patrik,
jag tänkte på ska jag backa lite? Jag lutar in.
Jag har tillräckligt långa armar.
So now we've arrived at Huvudskär for lunch, and we found this really nice spot to stop where we could bring our kayaks up and have a really nice lunch on the rocks.
Ja, det där är nog iklibart, absolut.
I actually found this clip when looking at this, and I thought I'd share it as a bit of a note. The point being, many kayakers actually, if they're injured, it's not on the water, it's oftentimes on land. Rocks are slippery and it's easy to step wrong or fall somehow. So always bring a first aid kit and watch where you step and avoid those slippery areas if you can. Alright, let's take a look at Huvudskär Island, which is what this video is about at the end of the day. In addition to the rock beauty and the sea, there's a lot of greenery on this island.
Se glad ut nu, Niklas.
Which isn't the case in all of the outer islands in the outermost part of the archipelago.
Eller hur? Det här är skärgårdsidyll alla maximum.
And there's the lighthouse as a key feature. And it feels a little bit like you're traveling back in time a bit to these typical Swedish red houses with white around them on the edges. So small communities here with some preparations for visitors, a small museum or exhibit, and as noted, there is actually a hostel, or was at least when we were there, on the island, so people could get here by boat or maybe through an organized transport connected to a tour somehow, I suppose. But it's definitely a bit of an oasis out in the outermost part of this archipelago, or the southern part of the Stockholm archipelago. And when you get there, it definitely has this very special feeling of being disconnected from the hustle and bustle of the mainland, while at the same time still being part of, well, a bit of a community here. After having paddled past islands where there might be nobody for a while. So here we're heading back to our kayaks, and this is a kayaking channel after all, so I'll show a little bit of footage from when we launched after our lunch break, heading out again, passing the nearby islands here in order to get onto open water. And we're going to make a crossing here north of Huvudskär, heading towards Myggskären, which is where we actually stayed the night, our second night of this trip.
Nu spottar vi er mot klipporna här lite grann. The red-green team.
After having had some waves on the way here, not anything tremendous, but definitely some wind and waves. We've been in more sheltered waters here for a while, but as soon as we get out to open water, we would have the wind against us, meaning some waves coming our way and an opportunity to bounce a bit.
Men det är inte, det här är inte farligt liksom. Fläkten är nice.
And well, day one was really calm. I mean, super calm. The weather was absolutely magnificent and the water was absolutely flat. The second day had some wind and we did push through some waves. But the third day and the fourth day, that's where it got windy.
Det här påminner ju lite om vägen tillbaka från Håkanskär.
We're discussing this being reminiscent of Håkanskär, a previous expedition the year before, which kind of started this tradition with this group.
Kändes ju som att det fanns så mycket som helst att utforska där.
Anneli, who's paddling to the right of me, was the one who came up with the idea of paddling to Håkanskär. And Ulf in the green PFD up ahead came up with Huvudskär for this year.
Yes!
And now in 2024 we have another trip being planned.
Nu får vi lite så här.
But more about that when that happens, hopefully. And now is the time where we finally got to bounce a little bit more on the waves.
Ja, men alltså när man tar dem rakt på så här så är det ju ändå väldigt så, det är bara roligt. Yes, yes.
I ended up playing around a bit further ahead on these waves.
Ja, det verkar som nu går vi direkt på Myggskära.
But I'll show that in the
Alla
next
ska vara
video.
noggrant uppradade i raka linjer.
And actually, Midskären turned out to be awesome as well. There were actually cottages that you could borrow if you wanted to. And perfect locations for a campsite. And our midsummer celebration this year. Even if it was 1 week earlier this year. So more in the next video. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe. It will help others find the channel, and you will be updated on new upcoming videos. Stay safe and happy paddles!